Shabbat Shalom again. Before we bring the Torah out and have our students read some of the 10 Commandments, I wanted to say a word to all of our parents and a word to all of our students. To our parents, I want to say thank you. And to our grandparents who are here as well. For you literally passed Torah from one generation to the next, Lador Vador. It is not such an easy thing. For those of you who have joined this synagogue, whether more recently or years and years ago, you are in a small minority of Orange County Jews who cast their lots with the synagogue. We think probably 15% or less of Orange County Jewish people join a synagogue. So that already makes you exceptional. But it's a statement about how important you take your faith. Because here's the truth of the matter. None of us can do it alone. If you send your kids to us and say, go be Jewish, we'll see you when you get back. And then the other 6 days of the week, nothing happens or the values aren't of Jewish faith, then you will have wasted your time and money. But it's a partnership between the commitment parents make and then ultimately the commitment students make to be part of something bigger than themselves, such as a synagogue. And so I want to thank you for your investment of time, for your cajoling and canoodling to get them here on some Sunday mornings. Although I have to tell you, the best part of Sunday morning is watching the kids have those smiles on their faces when we begin in the morning at Hatikva and then when they leave to go greet their parents. Because the values we teach here resonate in the home, and the values spoken of in the home resonate what is taught here. And so thank you, moms and dads and grandparents, for being a Torah bearer, one who carries Torah with them and passes it down. And that is an exceptional thing. To my students, to Rabbi Ziv's students, to Rabbi DePaulo's students, and she sends her love. She's just finishing up her maternity leave with her little one, so she can pass Torah to him as well, but on her behalf as well. This afternoon, I was lucky enough to go to the Irvine City Hall, where we received a proclamation because it is Jewish Heritage Month. How many people knew that? Very good. Well, 2 of you. Excellent. 3 of you. Excellent. It was news to me, but I was happy to accept it anyway. And I want to share with you what I shared with them. I said, America is often called the great melting pot. And I understand why we use that metaphor. It's really a beautiful metaphor. But in today's day and age, I don't think it works anymore. Because when everything melts together, it becomes one. And there are forces in the world who would like us all to be one. And I promise you what they mean by one is not Jewish, or black, or gay, or Asian. That's not what they mean. They want us all to melt into one. And then I noticed on the emblem of the city council of the city of Irvine, a beautiful tree. And so it was a perfect avenue for me to say, in Judaism, we believe in what's called an Eitz Chaim, a tree of life. At which point the mayor stood up and said, Rabbi, I hate to tell you, that's not a tree. That's asparagus. I kid you not. Asparagus? I guess asparagus grew in the city of Irvine. So then, of course, I had to say, well, eating asparagus is good for your health. And so is being Jewish. But let me go back to the tree metaphor because I'm not at the city council anymore. The tree of life is a much better metaphor for the United States of America. That we're all rooted in this thing we call democracy, and then we all grow as part of a great tree that looks different, that feels different, that is different. And it's our differences that we ought to celebrate. It's our differences that make us unique. It's our differences that bring us to this moment in this service. What is it I say at every holiday with our students? It's cool to be Jewish. That is an old Rick Steinberg trick that gets kids to feel that it's special to be different, not hard to be different. And if you're part of a branch that is Jewish and another part is something else, you're still part of the same tree. But the reason the tree stands is because it is receiving light from the sun, but growing on all these branches, to be sure. And even this afternoon when we were meeting before services, 2 students said, "Oh yeah, I had an incident with anti-Semitism this past month." Every week in my office, I get a call from some parent whose child has experienced anti-Semitism. Rabbi Ziv, Rabbi DePaulo, and I work so hard to make our students' Judaism about a love of faith, about a celebration of the holidays, about the goodness that Judaism can provide the world. That's what we want their identity to be. And unfortunately, that has to be combined with taking a defensive position all the time. And that is a heartache for me as a rabbi, as a Jew. But I want to say I'm so proud of you. Because what I see in all 7 of you, and I see in our entire school, is the best way to fight anti-Semitism, yes, is to have a good, strong defense, but even better to have an offense. And that offense is being a madrich or a madricha. That offense is celebrating your faith in high school when you go on to college. That is writing these beautiful paragraphs of wisdom that share with us how you feel about your faith. It's about getting in arguments with your parents about Israel and what Israel should do. It's about celebrating your faith, not just always defending it, although we need to do that too, sadly. Just part of the deal of being a Jew in this millennia. It's just part of it, and I'm sorry that you have to do that. But at the same time, I'm so proud that you will receive Torah tonight in the form of the 10 Commandments, and that will be part of your very essence. And I just know, and I'm convinced, Judaism is here despite all evidence to the contrary of why we shouldn't be here. And why is that? I believe it's because the message of Judaism is a universal message. It's a message that says, treat your neighbor well. It's a message that says, don't put a stumbling block before the blind. Don't curse the deaf. Be a person of integrity. That Leo Beck said, Judaism is not merely ethical, but ethics constitutes its essence. Judaism is not merely ethical, but ethics constitutes its essence. Last thing I'll say to you is this. There's a story in the Talmud that says when a person dies and goes to heaven, God's going to ask them a series of questions. But the first question is, it's not did you go to Shabbat, it's not did you become bar bat mitzvah, it is were you ethical in your business dealings? Because that's all God needs to know, whether you took your faith and you used it in your life, which goes back to the partnership between synagogue and family. What we teach here, I think in the families that I know, the 600 and almost 70 families of our congregation, the values taught in the home match up very, very well. And to that we can say amen, and to you all we say mazel tov. Congratulations.